Let me start with XRP. Um, and the first thing I'll show is price action has just broken below the bottom of the impulse. So when they hit the bottom here, impulse correction. So this is the beginning of this impulse, and then it's just after spiking through it now, which invalidates a an impulse up here immediately. Is what we start looking for is when you put the fib on from the top here to the bottom here, you start looking at the fibs coming down as a target. Yeah. Now I have an initial target of around 30, 29, 50, 30, and that would have me looking at possibly the 1272 is just as an initial take profit. Yeah. Potentially, I think we're looking at, if this is going to be a proper breakout from this, is coming down to the 272 at 24.27. I think is more realistic for the breakout. But we would need to see it break the bottom of this. You can see the arc here, yeah. We'd need to see it break the bottom of this at 28.69. So I think it's possible. It's possible it could just keep going, yeah. I think it's possible that we may get a bottom here, and that we get a lift up, an impulse up, and I'm not sure the impulse from 30, say. The impulse from 30, and again, it'll be back, say, from 30 here to the top here. If you went to the 786, the target would be 34.66. I'm not sure, because we're so close to breakout. I'm not sure whether it has the energy to get up there. Yeah, it's quite possible it might just come up to 32.76 or so. This is a center line through price action. I'll show you another charts as well. You can see it really played along it here, and it's possible that it just bounces back up to this, does something like an 05, and then come back down, yeah, and break through. I think XRP lows at 786, so maybe it will do one more trip up here. It's just when we look further in, you'll see how strong the pressure down is. Yeah, getting back up here is not going to be that easy. So when I click into here, some of the things that play. So when I zoom out, is always remember that this yellow wedge, descending wedge, is this will be the signal for the proper breakup. Yeah, is when we start to break out of this wedge. But at the moment, I still think we have a journey in it, where potentially you can see coming down again the 25.5 here or so, maybe even slightly lower. Another potential retrace back up a little bit, and then possibly another spill. I think the bottom could be as close as around 19 or 20. I think it definitely has that potential, yeah. But at the moment, it's just after breaking this impulse here, so it's indicating that we're heading a bit lower. So even if you just look at this, here's the recent bottom, is somewhere in this space, possibly a touch onto this red channel again, which again is about 29.85. If we went down a little further, down another day, yeah, 29.30. Yeah. Now another just simple thing I'm looking at is for further continuation than that, is that you can see when it drops here, is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of a drop. I did a retrace here and then a drop further, but 5 days of a drop, yeah. here when it dropped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 days, yeah. Here you can see a very similar pattern at the top, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, and again, to me, just 3, 4, 5. By the end of the day, we excuse me. By the end of the day, we could be hitting the 29 or 30. We may get that. We may get that tomorrow a retrace, but by the end of tomorrow, it just continues down, and we get our 5 days. We get our 5 days down. Yeah. So I'm well aware of that as well. It's just around the 30 mark. I'll take a nice piece of profit. And then you can see that this support line was broken here. Yeah. If I zoom in, I go to the 4 hour. I'm just looking to see about a back test. Yeah. Another 1 hour. No, there hasn't been a back test to it. Okay, just curious. So yeah, so that's on that chart there. Yeah, is if it does come down to do a bounce, is the highest place I can see it retracing back to. Again, is this green center line here. Yeah, at 34.25, which would sort of fit. Let's say it came down to. Let's say it came down to there, 30 or so, yeah. And you put the fibs on it. Coming back up to the 786 again is around this green line, yeah. Now have a look at what this green line is. You can see the range it's moving in at the moment is this grey line to this grey line, and you can see that the center line of that here, where you can see price action. Once it got below this, rejection, broke through, came back down, rejection again. It's almost like a mirror image of this, just down here, yeah. So if we got the bounce at 30 or so, if it wanted to do another impulse, come back up, hit this green line again, get a rejection from it, and again potentially coming back down, yeah. There is an argument for the up as well. If it gets up here, there is an argument for the up. But we'll have a look at that in a bit, yeah. But I'm not sure whether it's gonna get there. Again, we look at the MAs and it'll tell us a story, yeah. Equally, if it wanted to continue down, is look at this white line here, yeah. This is the center line as well, a descending center line where this is a horizontal center line. And look at this, the resistance here, the support, the resistance, the support, and again 3 candles or 5 candles down, dropping down onto this line, will bring us down to around 27 or so with a spike through, yeah. And then you can see a play going on here, yeah, and maybe playing underneath this line as resistance, and then another drop down, yeah. Really just mimicking this, so to speak, yeah. One last time, I believe, would be the bottom, yeah. Okay, is there anything else I want to point out in this map? Yeah, maybe I'll talk about the breakup, yeah. So I do think it's gone down, but let's not let me be so heavily biased, yeah. If it was going to break up, is you get the bottom here. Is it comes up to its impulse here at 34.5 or so. Enough MAs get underneath it. It gets above the 20 EMA again, because you can see here rejection, gets above it, can't hold it. Previously in the patterns, this is where it gets a grip here and it bounces up. A lot of people thought it was going to go up here. Same again, gets above it, can't hold it. Again, myself, I thought it was going to go up here again, even though a lot of stuff is saying it's going to go down. It's just the second time it gets above this and fails is normally it bounces up. So if it got up above the 20 EMA again, is there's a potential for it to get support and get a lift up. So so that is absolutely possible as well. Yeah, is just that the MAs to ADR is it's a little bit more difficult to see than the spill. Yeah. So if I roll on it just a little faster now, because I know I'm taking my time, it's the same chart on the daily, and then here's the head and shoulders, yeah, where this recent drop here has just confirmed this line, yeah. So we've got the formation of the head and shoulders. Now we have to see if there's going to be a spill, and again there can be that lift back up and then the spill down. If this spills proper, there's the target of 24.61 or so, yeah. And then basically the bottom of the yellow descending wedge, yeah, is if it gets a bit of steam above it, gets a lift, and then gets a lift up, again the target here is 45.27 if it gets up. Is the decision, I think, is around 35.19. If price action can break 35, get above 35, get it as support, is it looks like we're heading up then. So there's that play that could also happen as well, yeah. It really depends on what's going to happen here, yeah. So it has just broken the impulse from here, so it's indicating that it's going to go further. The question is that will it find support before it breaks this bottom? If it does, there's an indication that it wants to go up a little bit. If it doesn't, then it's telling us that we're heading down more, yeah. Here's the 15-minute arc, yeah. I've already moved the bottom of the arc down from here, yeah. Another way of describing how it might happen is that if it comes down and hits a 29.30, doesn't break the bottom here, so what we'd have is a mountain peak and a third drop, is you get a retrace back up, and again here's this center line I was talking about again. Also you see this support line here, it might come back up and retest this line as resistance, and then spill, boom, 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 and then spill. That's a common pattern that happens as well, yeah. So I'll be watching, if it does come back up, I'll be watching very closely around the 32.80 or so, which I was talking about the other day. 32.80 I think is the decision maker. If it comes back up and tests that, if it's resistance, I think it's a clear drop. If it gets up and gets it as support, there's a stronger chance it's going to actually keep going up, yeah. So yeah, so again, here's the 30-minute arc. Final bounce is looking at like it's going to come down onto this support line. You can see it here, is final retrace. I have it up at 35 because the correction impulse would be up here, but it may just get stopped here, which again is 32.80. That's what we're looking at, yeah. And then I'll do this one first, yeah. Just using, I look at these charts and look for different types of confluence, yeah. So here's this channel here where when I wicked up here, or not wicked up, when it broke up here, when you take this and you put it down here, it nearly matches. This is slightly longer, yeah. And I was expecting this to happen again on this wave. I was expecting it earlier, to be honest. But just a simple measure. You take this, and again, this is just more basic. You take this and you put it here. It brings the target down to 29.85. Yeah. Equally, you could just take that there and brings it right to the blue line at 30.12. Yeah. So that could hold form as well. And you can see this blue ascending support line as well. These are long-term lines. Yeah. If it wanted to do something a bit spicier, and it wants to be a breakout, you can take it from here. You bring a line all the way to the bottom here. Yeah. And I would generally put it here because this is the last wick before the breakout, rather than putting it here. To be a little more conservative. And again, this brings it down to 25.83. Really, this blue ascending line again, and then this red ascending line as well. So You're looking at a target at here again at 25.70 or so, yeah. So that could be that extended. When we're looking at the fibs, because it's broken this, we start extending it down. It's hitting the 272 target around there, yeah. So that's something that I'm watching as well. So how might that happen? That's the question. Let's look at the fibs, or not the fibs, the MAs. These MAs changed last night. The 4-day changed last night, yeah. Now the days, the weeks, and the MAs on the weeks and the days are strongly playing a role at the moment, because we're so close to the bottom. Is maybe just a quick reminder, is the 3-week turn there on the 11th of July, and the 5 MA is probably in a push position, yeah. It's close enough to really affect, yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. There's the Bollinger at 17.75. The 2-week is the same. Look how close the 5 is here. There's the rejection. Came up, touched it. 35.97. So this is what I'm saying. You'd be doing well to get back up to 34.5 with the pressure coming down. This looks more like it's setting itself up for a spill, yeah. There's 17.41. An argument for the turn is that if price action does get up here, is the VWAP can turn into support rather than resistance. So that's part of the argument I was talking about. But if it does get back up to 34 or so, it could turn things. Again, here's the weekly. Is the weekly drop there 2 days ago, and the 10 has come down at 36.27, which means it's applying a lot of pressure as well. The 5 and the VWAP, the yellow, they could turn if it comes up, but again, the 10 is coming down for pressure. So again, it's easy to see that it could just force a capitulation, yeah. So it's happening at the moment, yeah. And again, 21.44 is the Bollinger. I don't want to go through all the days. I'm just talking at the time. There's the 6-day. You can see if it gets up, it could turn, but there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure. You can see that a lot of pressure on the 5-day. It looks like it's just going to continue down. Yeah, doesn't look like it's going to retrace too quickly. Now the 4-day changed. The 4-day changed last night. Yeah, and again you can see the 5 and 10 are in spill mode, and so is the VWAP. Yeah. It looks like it wants to go down. Now the Bollinger on that is 27.71 at the moment. The same with the 3-day. Now again, as I said, if it comes up, it starts getting up, this could turn for a lift. So this is where how high the retrace goes is actually very important here. Yeah. Again, the 2-day is dipping down. It's dipping down. The 20 here has been a very strong rejection along the way, the pink one. But you wouldn't say the 5 and the 10 here are turning down and nosediving like you would the 4-day, yeah, and the 5-day. Now on the 1-day this looks very spilly. Look, the 5 is after cutting through here, and we talked about 5 days of a drop. Is the 5 is cut through the 10 here. And again, on the 1-day, that's a substantial thing, yeah. It came back up and tested the medial line here, got rejected, and now it's coming down for the Bollinger. So there's 30.35. So it looks like today there's a good chance it could hit that 30 to 29 mark, yeah. But then you can see that these are, look, the EMA is coming down as well. If you see tomorrow the 5 or the 20 here take a turn as well, it just looks like it's adding more pressure to it. So there's the 12-hour. Now I said this yesterday, so I'll fly through this. You can see the 5 is cutting through. This is what's telling, and the MAs here are quite gathered. So it's easy for them to take a turn now if they want. Yeah. So I'll just flick through. Here's the 8-hour. Again, same thing. And the 10 is making its efforts to follow through. VWAP is a little sideways here. This just turned now 7 minutes ago, and the VWAP's gone a little sideways. You see the 5 is still coming down. There may be a little bit of a retrace here, as I said, a retrace, and then it continued down. So you might get a retrace back to 31.69 or so. You might get a retrace here. Let's have a look at the 6. Yeah, the 6. See the 10 coming down is the way the angle of the 10 come down is, and again, see how the 50 has been a solid support. Well, support as in resistance. It's been a solid resistance here. Yeah. And here's the 4 after turning. Again, these are spilly. The 2 has turned as well. Again, the 5 has broken the VWAP. Again, it looks a bit more. Doesn't look like the push down is as strong. And again, here's the 1 hour. So the potential retrace here, if it wants to get a bit of breadth, is it comes back up and it tests the VWAP here, yeah, at 31.33. It would test the Bollinger here. If it really wanted to, it could come up and maybe test the top of the Bollinger here, the 20 EMA and the 20 MA at 31.78. It could do that. I don't think it will get that far, but it could do that too. So that's it. I won't keep going in. I think that's far enough. I could talk through the stocks here for a moment. Stock RSI. Just for an immediate response, you see the 5 is at the top, which means it's had its push down, is had its lift back up, so it's ready to give another push back down again. Well, we'll be giving it a couple of 5-minute cycles, and it'll be ready to push back down again. Yeah. Let me do it like this. Yeah, so you can see that the touch is taking a breath, and again, this little impulse here. It'll probably hit off this, and then it'll do another push down. Yeah. The question is the 15-minute ready to go again? Has it 15-minute reset? Just waiting for it. There we go. Okay, so the 15-minute is this push down has brought the 15-minute down. Again, this can stay longer. You can see the way the 15-minute can stay longer and go down another level. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what it wants to do. Is look at when it did come up, it went like this and floated along the top. So the incentive for the 15 to turn around and really take it up, you see it's not there at present. Yeah. Excuse me. Where's the 30-minute? 30 minutes on the way down, which is basically saying you can a little bit of a breather here, and again, it looks like it'll just keep pushing down. You see the 5 breaking the VWAP, and these guys coming through just keep pushing it down. And then the hour. So the hour, yeah, the hour can keep going down. The one I'm really getting to now is the 4 hour, because I know the 4 hour is down. It's been down for a long while. Yeah. There's the 2 hour back down, but again, it can stay there and keep going. Same with the 3 hour. It's this one. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to show you. It is the last thing I'm going to show you. I promise. But it is. This is interesting. Yeah, is you can see here. Look how long it stayed down here. Look how long it stayed down here. Now let's look at what happened. Here's the bottom of this here. Here's the bottom of it here. Yeah, it gave a lift up and a little drop there. It gave a lift up and gave a big drop there, which is it's a bullish divergence. So you get the drop, you get the lift, the 3, then the wave, the 4, and then there's wave 5, and you can see it's coming, and then you get the lift back up. It did the same thing here. It did the same thing here. Look, here's the bottom of the RSI, stock RSI. It did a lift and then a final drop down here. Yeah. Excuse me. And it did a bearish divergence. Yeah. Now again, I come all the way up here and then down, but that's bearish, or sorry, bullish divergence. So I'm expecting the same thing here. Is that on the wave here? You see when it spills here from the consolidation, you get a drop, 1, 2, then you get the spill, you get the lift, and then you get the final drop. So here's the consolidation here. First drop 1, 2, then you get the spill. So I think we're in the spill. Maybe this is it. Is depending on where we get the lift, is you get the lift, and then we get one final drop, and I think that'll be it before we get the lift back up. And then it's just a question of will the lift, like this here, will the lift just come up to here, which again is back at that 32, 32.80, 33 mark, and then get a deeper rejection, or again will we have the deeper impulse up and possibly get a ground on the other side of it and then break up. That's what I think we're looking at. Yeah, I'm inclined to think it's down simply because of the way that the MAs are moving. But you can see if it gets up above this, it's demonstrating that it's leaving the door open to lift. Yeah, essentially turning this head and shoulders back into a W. Is you get the W here if it can get up far enough. Yeah. So so that's it. Or triple bottom. 1, 2, 3, and then up and goes. So that's what we're looking at. Yeah. So that's me. That's me done. Excuse me. That's me done. I will hand you over to Mahela.
Good morning, everyone. I'll start with Bitcoin first. Now I have all my charts here. Now we have finally made our drop towards the target. I believe yeah, that has negative connotations at the moment in my mind. I love the song, but anyways, so going back to the target for the short that I was showing you last night. So I took my profit last night because I thought it was bottoming out here. I can see that it still has a little bit of juice in it on the 4 hour to get to the bottom line of this. I think it will get to the bottom line of that, and then I'll watch there for the confirmation for the next trade. I believe there is still a little bit left to go in this short, and what's going to happen here on the bottom line will tell us where it's going. Again, as I was telling you last night, we might see a slight retrace, but only a minor one from the bottom line to this center line to around 20,200. Just for the 1 hour and the 15 minute and the 4 hour to catch a little bit of a breather, while the other ones still have some space to push down. In terms of MAs, there is the 20 coming down over the 50. So what might happen today is we get to this bottom line 19,400, 19,500, basically where we are right now. Like we haven't had a large amount to. This was the trade setup that we did last night. So from here. 4 points to here. So today might go from there to there, which is very close to getting. And then it might do a small retrace, back test the 50, and then come down for the next level at the 18,700, 18,600 600 mark. So what I mean is, it comes down here today, it goes a little bit higher, which is again it would be a tradable opportunity, and then coming down, getting rejected for this. So that would be the juicy trade to make, that rejection there at the 50, or possibly if it doesn't get there, maybe the 10. But the 20 coming down very abruptly to cross over the 50 is not going to be without consequences. Like, this will bring another leg down. So we might see a slight retrace and then heading down. Now, that's how I see it play out today. It might just stay somewhere around here and do a little bit of sideways. So I personally would be looking for a rejection. Now that I'm out of my short, I would be looking for a rejection and then heading down, because again, this trend is not complete. The 4 hour is still pushing. It would be interesting to see if there is, now this retrace should happen. If it happens fast, then it will probably be rejected. If it happens slowly and it's bringing up the MAs, then we might be looking for maybe a higher target for this. But we'll know, again, we'll know if the 50 is held as support or not. We'll see where it is, because at the moment it's quite close to the 5 on the 4 hour. So if that retrace gets above it, it might do it might use it for support. And then we have to watch momentum. We have to watch to see how it meets that 50. Now for Ethereum, I think we're in the same situation. I was looking for, there it is, perfect. So the target was met last night, the 1100 for this wedge. It came down to the 1070 line, and there's a lot of MA confluence and long-term support there, and it's breaking it, and it's showing that there actually is intent for a leg down. Now, you can see there's a lot of sideways, and there's a middle line here between these two levels. It hasn't reached it yet. It could. It's around 1050. Now it's now the price action is 1060. So Ethereum again might show us that there is another leg down, and again we'll see what's happening here in terms of downward momentum and downward push on the MAs. There's plenty. I'm gonna start with the daily, because the daily is the more powerful one acting now. We have the 5 turning over, and it's gonna cross. So here we had this drop when the 5 crossed over the 10. Which was a 14% drop. Now the 5 is coming down over both the 10 and the 20, and it's forming this M formation. I find it hard to believe that this is all we're getting with the 5 coming down over the 10 and 20 on the daily. Again, we might be staying somewhere around here maybe for a couple of hours until the 1 hour and the 4 hour catch a little bit of a breather. Basically what happened yesterday. So if we're looking at what happened yesterday, somewhere here, that was the consolidation needed to do this. So we might be staying for a couple of hours here to consolidate. And again, I would be looking, I still believe that the dominant trend is down, so I would be looking for a short. I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't do a trade for this retest, just because I find the downtrend to be quite strong. But again, it might be a tradable opportunity if you see a double bottom on the 15-minute. I don't think we have yet a double bottom on the 15-minute. We've only got one bottom. I would like to see here a little bit more of this situation. But again, this might look like a brilliant structure for reversal. We actually have a bullish divergence here. But as you can see, the downward trend trumps it all. Like it's because there needs to be another leg down, pushed down by the MAs. This bullish divergence doesn't mean too much. So again, I'm watching carefully for entries for longs, because this is just consolidation. What I'm trying to tell you guys is I'm favoring entries for shorts, so retraces and then following it down. So that's where we are. We're keeping the same levels. None of the major breakout levels has yet been broken. If I'm going to the 1 hour arc where we had our trade, very good, where we had our trade set up yesterday, so the first trade was complete. So this was the first. Let me put I used to do that when I started paper trading initially. I loved my my little symbols. There we go. So we have one trade here that turned out to be what we expected it to be. And now again, maybe Ethereum is the one telling us what's going to happen because it's broken the arc line. And I'm looking, you might see a difference in my intonation because I turned towards Roy and I was showing it to him. So it broke the arc line, broke out of the 1 hour arc. And it's heading towards the second target here. So I'd say again, we might see some sideways, but this looks like the likely target. This looks like the likely target, especially again with the 4 hour 20 crossing over the 55. This is what it did the previous time. I fail to see, unless we have super pump energy, how this is gonna retrace back up. So that's it. That's for Ethereum and for Bitcoin before the London session. Overall, to summarize it, we might get some sideways consolidation, maybe a slight retrace, but I think there is energy for a leg down, for Ethereum down to the 1,000 mark, and for Bitcoin down to the previous, I'd say 18,700. That's for Bitcoin, 18,700. So there is energy for that. Bitcoin hasn't yet broken out of the arc. Ethereum has. We'll see if Ethereum again guides us into the right direction. I'll be posting later before the New York session just to see where it starts. Have a beautiful day and enjoy your trading.
Super. Thanks, Mihaela.
You're welcome.
Guys, any questions?